or not. I'm going to move out of the way a little bit. There we go. Let's see. Trying to get a good shape. All right, I'm ready for the final shaping. Remember, I told you I made the dough last night. I let it bulk ferment overnight. And then I pre-shaped it. The first video was pre-shaping. Now it has a tiny bit of a surface. Remember, this dough is always going to be very wet and sticky. Some people are better with it than others. So what I'm going to do as I final shape it, when I finish final shaping it, because I don't have a fancy bowl that they call a banneton, I'm going to use the bowl that I made the dough in, and I have it lightly floured. I'm going to flour it now before I get my hands sticky and shape the dough. And you know, people, you see them with these fancy sifters and contraptions. That's all good. And this is the top of the bread. So I'm going to flip it over. All right. So now that I have this all, you want it very well floured on the towel because the dough is still sticky. It's going to bulk ferment some more. Now the ferment versus keeping it out in the open on my counter, that's a different kind of bulk ferment because the temperature is warmer in the house than it is in the fridge. So now the final thing to do for this is what's called anywhere from 8 to 18 hours. 8 times. Yeah, which is a long time. Sourdough bread is no joke. Okay, so now that I have this basket floured, and on another note, I was told by my sister and other people you want to use a rice flour because rice flour doesn't stick and absorb into the dough like the regular bread flour. For example, if you put the bread flour in, it would try to eat the bread flour. So these are all things that are good to know when you're making sourdough. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to, let's see if I can get this thing in a good area right there. I'm going to wet my hands, wet my bench scraper, right? Because I have to flip this dough over. And because it's sticky, it's going to be easier to handle if your hands are a little wet. Kind of hard to do, but all right, that's it. Now, to the final shape, we're going to stretch it out a little bit. What they do normally when you watch the bread makers, people making bread, apparently there's some sort of name for this, which is supposed to be based on the guy who first did it, supposedly, but you never know. I said that the other day, you never know. And it is easier with the bench scraper, for sure. They tell you to want to do it by hand to get used to it, but it's tough, man. Making bread is not easy. Making sourdough bread, making regular bread with yeast in it, I'm sure it's a little easier. So you want to stretch it out, right? Because I'm on a counter, I can move this, right? Because to tell you, you want to kind of lift it up. Let me get my hands a little better. You can see this. Basically right now, the final shaping, you're going to fold it in on itself. I've already flipped it over, right? You can see some big bubbles here, like a big bubble right there. Pop it. But you do want to try to get it a little uniform, which is what I'm trying to do. But because it's so sticky, it makes it a little difficult. Because I want to stretch this thing out. All you do, when you do it, take it, stretch it, right? You're going to fold it back. See that? And the same thing with this side. Flip it over. Pull it, come together. Right, and get it to stay, and just kind of just squeeze it. That's what I. So you're basically seaming it or stitching it. And the bottoms. Normally they pinch it. I'm just trying to get this. I'm just trying to get this to shape. It's my dough is still pretty wet. That's one of the reasons why you want to get it in the proofing basket. But as you can see, it is still pretty sticky, right? You guys see that? And I have to handle it. That's why it's good to have a bench scraper. Believe me, it is not as easy as these bread making people make it seem. It's tough. So I'm going to set it right in here. And I'm going to cover it. Then it's going to bulk proof, cold proof in the refrigerator. So I'm trying to get under this guy. Sort of getting it ready to get under it with my hands. I got my hands again. Because I'm going to grab this thing, right? I have another bench scraper. Really helps to have these. They really come in handy. That's it. Now it's in there, right? Pretty cool. Now this other loaf that I'm going to make, when I shape it, I'm going to pre-shape the next loaf afterwards. Okay, so I got this in. Now I'm going to let it rest in the refrigerator for anywhere from 8 to 24 hours. So it's got to do what's called cold ferment. I'll put this in the fridge, then I'll start with the other loaf right here. This guy right here. So. Let's see if I have room in my fridge for this guy. Okay, so now what that is called is a cold ferment. Cold bulk ferment. Let me clean everything. This board, I'm going to clean it, flip it over, and then I will do the other one. And the other one, the other loaf, actually, I'm going to bake today. So, pretty cool. Let me get with you guys in a second. But the loaf that I just finished, you're not going to see me do that. Not at all. Clean everything, make it nice and clean. Use the side that's a little drier. Now this dough, this might be a little stickier because this second dough that I have right here, that one, that's 60% hydration. And the thing about baking, when you first start baking, they tell you the lower the hydration, the better off you are. That's what I'm going to do. This is a lower hydration. And this dough, I believe, is going to rest for 90 minutes. Right? Let's see. I'll get my recipes. I have all kinds of recipes. So I got like 7 different recipes. So with this one, form the loaf and let it proof for 90 minutes. So now, this loaf right here, I'm going to form it, right? And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lightly flour the surface. Lightly. You see some guys, they throw it on there, look a little fancy. Now for this one, you don't have to wet your hands like the other one did. Okay. But I roll in my scraper. Get this out. Let me clean and dry this shaper right here that I have. Not shaper, bench scraper. Not bench scraper, just a little scraper. Because I am going to use this to help me get this dough out of the bowl. I'm going to put it back in the bowl. Rice flour. Okay, here we go. Dump it out into the bowl. See how this seemed to have more bubbles in it, right? Check it out. I hear my dogs in the background. And it pops out. Let gravity just come out. And my dog's playing in the background. And there it is, got it out. I kind of like to try to get all the dough out of here and whatever's left. Just because it's going to be more bread for me to eat. Right? So unlike the other bread that I made, the other dough that I just final shaped, this one I'm going to pre-shape it right now.
Can you please get off from the leash?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My dogs are making too much noise for the boss.
For the homeschooling boss.
The homeschooling boss. Go on, go. So as not to get my hands dirty, I just took them outside. So what I'm going to have to do with this, I'm going to have to clean this bowl. But first, let's shape this. Now, all you're going to do with this, right, this is going to be sticky, but it's a different kind of sticky. It's more workable. All I'm going to do is start turning it in on itself, right? And then what I liked when I watched this guy make the bread is he put it in his hands, which was just great to see, you know? So this is it. You're turning it, right? He even put it in his hands and made it. Now this is more like this is more of the kind of dough that I'm used to making when it comes to making homemade flour tortillas, right? So I shaped it, and what you do when you shape it is you turn it in on itself, and what that does is it makes the skin tighter. It's similar to, let's say you have loose skin on your body, or anything that's loose. All you're doing is you're going from this to this. You're stretching it, right? You're stretching it and you're making it tighter and tighter to where you see how tight that is now? It's not loose like this. So that's it. That's what I've done. Cover up. Form a loaf and let it proof for, we're going to do 90 minutes. Okay? So let me clean this right here. Clean this bowl because I'm going to put it back in here. And what you see a lot of people do on these videos, they like tapping them, which is kind of funny. And these, there's really no
She's about to do a play.
bottom or
She's
top.
about to do a play online. She's got to beat her vocal.
Okay. So if you guys hear stuff in the back, my daughter's homeschooled. My wife is the teacher. It's an online academy, but she also teaches as well and helps to accent. So I'm going to clean this bowl. I'm going to put this towel. It's really, whatchamacallit, like a, what do you call that? When you put it down on the table. Tablecloth. So let me clean this bowl. Then I'm going to dry it, put it back on here. Hold on. Okay, so what we're seeing here is two different methods of baking bread. The one bread I started last night, the first one, I made the dough, I let it bulk ferment overnight on the table, on the counter, island, right? The second one, I did the same thing, I made everything last night, the dough, only this bulk ferments on the counter, and it's ready to make the next day. So it's a lot easier and simpler. Remember I told you that you're going to flour your bowl, that you let the bread set in and rise. So put this in right here, this towel. Don't have to wet it. I found that once I wet it one time and the dough stuck to it quite a bit. So flour this. And remember I said before, use a rice flour. Rice flour is different than the regular flour because the regular bread flour for baking is gonna get into the dough and the dough is gonna want to try to eat it because this is fermenting some more. Now we're gonna do just let it rest. Take this, right? This is going right there, flipping it over, right? See how much easier this is to hold than the other one? Set it inside, cover it. I'm gonna let it rest for 90 minutes. There's my loaf. So you see it. So I'm gonna come back in 90 minutes. Well, maybe, I don't know if I am. But I'm gonna bake this in an hour and a half. Pretty cool. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Now I'm just going to clean up the area, put everything away, and wait. It's a waiting game. The other dough, I'm going to have to wait to make it like either tomorrow, early in the morning. Let's see. Yeah, tomorrow morning. I can make the other loaf of bread tomorrow morning. This bread, I'm going to let it proof for an hour and a half. Then I will score it. So you're going to see how to score it, which is pretty easy. It's not that hard. And then I'll bake it. And you bake it. This one, unlike most people when they tell you to preheat your oven, preheat your Dutch oven over here, right? They're going to tell you to preheat everything. Preheat the oven, preheat the Dutch oven, then you put your bread in. I'm not going to do that. This is a different method. I think the guy's page is called Sourdough Made Easy. I'm not quite sure if Either way, this is going to be pretty cool because I'm going to bake it. Once it rests for that 90 minutes, I'll score it. So I didn't stretch and fold this at all. I just bulk fermented it, which is pretty cool. So now I made the loaf. I formed the loaf. I'm going to let it rest for 90 minutes. Then I'm going to score it and move it into this Dutch oven. No preheating required. I'll put some water in the stove so that it has water. And what that does, that helps your dough come up. They call that a spring. And we'll go from there. Because you start off with the lid on when you bake it. You let it bake for normally they take it off in about 20 minutes or so, but this one I'm just going to bake it for 58. Well, on here, no, okay, my bad. On here I'm going to bake it for 58 minutes with the lid on. Then I'm going to remove the lid and bake it an additional 12 minutes until the color of the crust, until I get the color of crust that I want. I'm going to like my bread a little bit darker. Golden is fine. This is sourdough. Most sourdough is very light in color. So with that in mind, it's resting now. I have my razor. They like to call it a lame or lame, whatever. I call it lame. I call it razor. It's a razor because that's all this is a razor. Sometimes you see people making bread. They have a little, looks kind of like a round wheel, like a roller. And they have the razor in that and they cut it. But you can use a knife. You can use anything that's semi-sharp. All right? So with that in mind, I'm done for now. I'll see you guys later. And I'll make a short where I'm actually putting this in the oven, in a cold oven, with the lid on, having it ready. So I'll take out the parchment paper, put it inside here, crumble it. I'll get the other pan with water so I have some steam. But that's it. And the next loaf that I will be baking, I'm going to bake one tomorrow. So I'll have 2 loaves of bread. You're going to find when you have sourdough bread, when you first start eating it, you eat the whole loaf. It doesn't seem like much. It might look, for example, when I made my first loaf and it came out right, and I cooked it in a bread pans. I ate all of that, and I felt bad because my wife and daughter liked it, but I ate it. I ate it all to my head. The first pieces I put butter on, second ones I put cream cheese. But yeah, when you start making your own sourdough bread, man, it's good. Anything you make from scratch by yourself is fantastic. It's so much better than store-bought. I mean, that's why people go to restaurants, especially fancy restaurants, right? Where people take all that time and effort to make the dishes that they eat. This is the same thing, only you're doing it for yourself. You're being more productive with your time. You're learning a skill that you have for life. And you can pass it on and share it with others. And that's pretty cool if you ask me. All right, so that's it for now. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. God bless you. Bye. And if you would like to follow my page, just press the subscribe button and you can see it. I have other things on here. Basically I have sermons on here, and then I have a lot of foodie videos where I'm cooking. I like to cook. I like to do a lot of different things. But that's it. Take care. God bless.